Tennessee Senator Bob Corker, a member of the Banking Committee. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thoughts about what Steve was just talking about? To what degree, let's say it happens for the Fed chairman today. To what degree does the GOP want to make a statement either about making debate go long or making it a close vote?
Well, I don't think it's a GOP. It's always a few senators. And you remember, there's a few people on both sides of the aisle that might want to protect it. But he's going to be, no doubt, he's going to be the next Fed chairman. Look, in a controversial vote like this, everybody needs to remember the best vote is always no, okay? And so you got to remember that people are, worried a little bit about the future. They're, they saw what happened in Massachusetts, but he will be confirmed, and he'll be confirmed very soon.
Right. Do Republicans ask for 30 hours of debate or not?
Well, again, you got Bernie Sanders. I mean, it's not Republicans. It's whoever.
Yeah.
One person in the Senate can ask for 30 hours. So there are people on both sides of the aisle that might want to delay this.
Right. Did you hear anything last night that moved the needle on any measure of policy, any type of policy?
Not really. I was thinking before coming in here, I think that the Massachusetts election was not a teachable moment. If you look at the policies, they're basically the same. It was just a speech, and I think we need to remember that. And you never know what the White House was using that speech to do. The policies did not change in the speech itself, but
although some argue they might be put in some different order now.
Well, they're putting, I think, back in the right order. I mean, let's face it, most Americans care about the economy, and I'm glad that he's doing that. I don't like necessarily the policies he put forth. At the end of the day, businesses out there, and I think maybe the bank contraction that was just referred to, they don't know what's going to happen in the future. Washington is continually changing policies, and business, as you know, likes predictability. They like stability. People are going to be waiting on the sidelines until they know whether there's going to be cap and trade, huge health care legislation, taxes, bank regulation. I mean, what are the capital requirements going to be for banks? So with that uncertainty, with Washington being so active right now, I think that itself is hurting the economy.
Sure. Joe?
Yeah, hey, Senator, I'm thinking of your famous last words. Do you remember the probability of health care not getting through? Do you remember what you told me it was?
Refresh my memory.
10% of it not getting through.
Right.
I guess that's because the possibility of a Republican getting Ted Kennedy's seat was about probably less than 10%.
A whole lot less than 10%,
yeah,
I would say.
So you probably were right at that point. But at this point, what is the probability that Senate bill gets through?
Oh, I think there's no probability that the Senate bill gets through. I mean, just absolutely no probability. What I hope will happen, and I think all of your listening audience would know of things they'd like to see that should be reformed in health care. And I hope that what will happen is, after this sort of brouhaha, we'll settle down over the next several weeks, several months, and do some things that actually, where all steps go in a forward direction. Even Democrats knew that if this bill passed, there were going to be years of changes that had to take place legislatively to correct it. Well, that's not the way to do good policy. Let's make sure that every step we take is a step in a forward direction, and I hope we'll have the opportunity to do that.
So you weren't gaming it. You weren't just saying 10% to scare people. No. You thought it was 90% certainty that health care was going to go through.
Well, sure. I mean, based on where we were at the time that you asked me, okay. Absolutely. I mean, who would have ever thought that Ted Kennedy's seat would be occupied by the now famous Scott Brown, who, by the way, I think is going to be a major, great addition to the
Maureen
U.S.
Dowd's
Senate.
calling him President-elect Brown. Calling him the new chosen one. That was a pretty good column, Carl. You got
it was a good. She did a nice job yesterday. Yeah. But when you say weeks or months on health care, you're not. It sounds like you're saying this bill is beyond fixing.
There's no way. I mean, look, there's been some reaching out by the White House, and this is not the kind of thing where you can tweak this and tweak that and make it right. Look, this bill is tremendously flawed. I mean, the fundamentals, the foundation of this bill it's flawed, and moderate Democrats, obviously have a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle. They know it's flawed. This bill is DOA. I mean, it's gone, and that's a good thing for our country. And what we need to do now is let's go back and move every step in a positive direction and do some things that will be very beneficial to.
Can you say the same about financial reform? He seemed to really draw a line in the sand. It sounds like this Consumer Protection Agency is a must-have. And because of that, it sounds like any compromise is not possible.
I didn't really hear that. I think that there is a compromise. I've been meeting with administration officials and certainly been meeting with all. Look, I think we may in fact get a good bill. The thing that will keep it from happening is politics. There's a lot of like-mindedness on both sides of the aisle, even about consumer protection. There are numbers of conservative and moderate Democrats that know that the way it's been proposed is not a good thing for our financial system. I obviously believe that. We have the makings of a bill if the environment that exists here in Washington doesn't destroy it. I'd like to see a bill. Mm-hmm. I think I've been working with Mark Warner and Chris Dodd and numbers of people to try to make that happen with numbers of my colleagues on the Republican side.
You're more bullish on that than you are clearly on health care.
Well, look, there's not the philosophical issue. I think we've come up with a solution on consumer protection if we can actually get it codified that'll work, okay? It doesn't disrupt. It doesn't have prudential regulation bumping up against consumer protection. And I think the too big to fail, I think all of us want to get that out of the American vocabulary. I mean, how do we get here? Right. I mean, we've rewritten capitalism over the last year and a half, and so there's an agreement there. Derivatives are tough. There's a lot of arcane issues there that need to be dealt with, but the makings are there for a bill if the environment here in Washington, which is very destructive right now, does not get in the way of that. Right. I don't want that to happen. I came here to try to put good policy in place, and I hope that happens.
We are at a critical juncture where if we can move some of these big issues off of the plate, we can start working on some of the longer-term stuff that's important. Would you not agree with that?
There is no question. It's important. And by the way, back to Bernanke's referral to bank contraction. Financial regulation, getting it off the table and done, I think would matter a great deal. I mean, financial institutions don't know what capital requirements are, as I mentioned earlier. They don't know what the environment's going to be. What are they going to do? They're going to hold their money until they know.
Senator, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Good to see you as always. Senator Bob Corker.